Welcome to Hollywood Secrets Information. In this video, we are going to look at 15 famous actors whose lives were filled with success, admiration, and unforgettable performances. But behind the cameras, many of them faced deeply difficult personal struggles. Some battled illness, grief, addiction, loneliness, financial problems, or emotional pain for years, often away from the public eye. Their stories remind us that fame does not always reveal the full picture of a person's life. Today, we honor their careers and remember the challenges they endured. So, stay with us as we uncover 15 famous actors who died after years of silent suffering. 1. Robin Williams. Robin Williams was one of the most beloved entertainers in Hollywood. With his incredible energy, rapid-fire humor, and unforgettable ability to move between comedy and drama, he became a favorite of audiences around the world. From Mrs. Doubtfire and Good Will Hunting to Dead Poets Society and Jumanji, Williams created characters that continue to bring laughter and emotion to millions. But away from the spotlight, his life was far more complicated than his cheerful public image suggested. Throughout different periods of his life, Williams struggled with addiction and personal difficulties. In his later years, he experienced serious health problems that deeply affected him. He was eventually diagnosed with Lewy body dementia after his death, revealing that he had been living with a devastating neurological condition that had not been fully understood during his lifetime. Those close to him described the final period of his life as extremely difficult. The energetic performer who had spent decades making the world laugh was facing confusion, fear, and dramatic changes in his physical and mental well-being. His death in 2014 shocked fans across the world and opened an important conversation about hidden illness and the struggles that can exist behind a successful public image. Robin Williams left behind an extraordinary legacy. He proved that comedy could be intelligent, emotional, and deeply human. Although his final years were painful, his work continues to inspire generations. His story remains a powerful reminder that sometimes the people who bring the most joy to others may also be fighting battles that the world cannot see. 2. Chadwick Boseman. Chadwick Boseman became an international superstar through his powerful performances and remarkable screen presence. He portrayed real-life legends such as Jackie Robinson in 42, James Brown in Get On Up, and Thurgood Marshall in Marshall. But it was his role as King T'Challa in Black Panther that made him a global cultural icon. What many fans did not know was that Boseman had been privately battling colon cancer for several years. Despite his illness and demanding medical treatment, he continued working on major films. He appeared in physically demanding roles while keeping his health struggle largely away from public attention. During those years, audiences saw a strong and dedicated actor continuing to deliver powerful performances. Few people understood the enormous personal challenge he was facing behind the scenes. His ability to continue working while dealing with such a serious illness made his story even more heartbreaking after the truth became known. Chadwick Boseman died in August 2020 at the age of just 43. His passing shocked Hollywood and fans around the world. Tributes poured in from fellow actors, filmmakers, political leaders, and millions of viewers who had been inspired by his work. His final performances gained even greater emotional meaning after his death. Boseman's legacy is not only about the characters he played, but also about the quiet strength and dedication he showed during an incredibly difficult period of his life. His story remains one of courage, privacy, and determination in the face of unimaginable hardship. 3. Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman was known for his unforgettable voice, commanding screen presence, and extraordinary ability to bring complexity to every character he played. Many audiences remember him as Professor Severus Snape in the Harry Potter films, while others loved his performances in Die Hard, Sense and Sensibility, and Love Actually. For years, Rickman built a reputation as one of Britain's most respected actors. He could play villains, romantic leads, dramatic characters, and mysterious figures with equal skill. His performance as Snape became especially beloved because the character's true depth was gradually revealed over many years. But in his final period of life, Rickman faced a serious health battle. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and much of his struggle remained private. While the world continued to celebrate his career, few people understood the extent of what he was going through. Rickman died in January 2016 at the age of 69. His death came as a shock to millions of fans, particularly because many had no idea that he had been seriously ill. Tributes quickly appeared across social media, and his fellow Harry Potter actors shared emotional memories of the man behind the famous character. Alan Rickman's story reminds us how private many celebrities can be about personal suffering. He continued to be remembered not for his illness, but for his extraordinary talent, intelligence, and unforgettable performances. Even today, his voice and characters remain instantly recognizable, proving that a truly remarkable artist can leave a lasting mark long after the final curtain falls. 4. Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze became one of Hollywood's most popular leading men through a combination of charisma, athletic ability, and emotional acting. His performances in Dirty Dancing, Ghost, Point Break, and Roadhouse made him a major star and earned him fans around the world. Behind his success, however, Swayze faced difficult personal struggles and later an extremely serious battle with cancer. In 2008, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, one of the most challenging forms of the disease. Instead of immediately stepping away from his career, he continued working and showed remarkable determination during treatment. He even continued appearing on television while facing the physical effects of his illness. His public attitude often reflected courage and determination, but his battle was long and incredibly demanding. For fans who had watched him dance effortlessly and perform dangerous action scenes, seeing him face such a serious health crisis was heartbreaking. Patrick Swayze died in September 2009 at the age of 57. His death brought an outpouring of tributes from Hollywood and from fans who had grown up watching his films. His life became a symbol of resilience. Although his final years were marked by a difficult illness, he continued to demonstrate professionalism and strength. Today, Patrick Swayze is remembered for much more than his final struggle. His movies remain classics, his performances continue to entertain new audiences, and his story serves as a reminder that courage is not always about defeating a battle. It can also be about facing it with dignity. 5. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Philip Seymour Hoffman was widely regarded as one of the most talented actors of his generation. Unlike many traditional Hollywood stars, he became famous through his extraordinary ability to completely disappear into his characters. His performances in Capote, The Master, Doubt, and many other films earned enormous respect. Despite his professional success, Hoffman's personal life included a long struggle with substance addiction. He had achieved sobriety for many years, but addiction is often a difficult battle that can return even after long periods of recovery. In the years before his death, he reportedly faced renewed difficulties. The tragedy of Hoffman's story is that his talent and professional accomplishments existed alongside a private struggle that many people could not fully see. He was admired by fellow actors and filmmakers and was still considered to be at the height of his artistic abilities. Philip Seymour Hoffman died in February 2014 at the age of 46. His death shocked the entertainment industry and became another painful reminder of the dangers of addiction. His legacy remains extraordinary. He left behind a remarkable collection of performances that continue to be studied and admired. His story is not simply one of tragedy. It is also the story of a gifted artist who gave everything to his craft. But it also reminds us that success, talent, and public admiration do not automatically protect someone from private struggles. 6. Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger was one of the most talented actors of his generation. He began as a young Australian actor and quickly gained international recognition through films such as 10 Things I Hate About You, A Knight's Tale, and Brokeback Mountain. But it was his transformation into the Joker in The Dark Knight that became one of the most famous performances in modern movie history. Ledger completely changed himself for the role, creating a character that was disturbing, unpredictable, and unforgettable. During the final period of his life, Ledger was reportedly dealing with exhaustion and difficulties with sleep. He was a busy actor, father, and creative artist, constantly moving between demanding projects. The pressures of his schedule and personal life created a difficult period behind the scenes. Heath Ledger died in January 2008 at the age of 28 from an accidental overdose involving prescription medications. His death shocked the entire world because he was so young and appeared to have an extraordinary future ahead of him. Just months later, The Dark Knight was released, and audiences witnessed what many considered the greatest performance of his career. Ledger later received a posthumous Academy Award for his portrayal of the Joker. His story remains both inspiring and heartbreaking. Heath Ledger left behind a body of work that showed enormous talent and creative courage. His sudden death also became a reminder of how dangerous medication interactions can be and how personal struggles may remain invisible even when someone appears successful on the outside. 7. Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder was one of the most distinctive comedy actors in Hollywood history. With his expressive face, unpredictable energy, and unique ability to combine innocence with madness, he created some of the most memorable characters in film. He became famous through classics such as Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, and his collaborations with Richard Pryor. For decades, Wilder brought laughter to audiences and became a beloved figure in American entertainment. But after the death of his wife, Gilda Radner, Wilder's life changed dramatically. He later became involved in cancer awareness and spent much of his time away from the Hollywood spotlight. In his final years, he was living with Alzheimer's disease, a condition that affected his memory and cognitive abilities. Wilder's family later explained that he had chosen to keep his illness private. One reason was that he did not want children who recognized him as Willy Wonka to lose their happiness by seeing him publicly identified with a serious illness. Gene Wilder died in August 2016 at the age of 83. His death was mourned by generations of fans who had grown up with his movies. His final years may have been marked by a quiet and difficult health struggle, but his public legacy remains full of laughter and imagination. Gene Wilder's work continues to make people smile, proving that even after an artist is gone, the joy they create can live on for generations. 8. Michael Clarke Duncan. Michael Clarke Duncan was known for his powerful physical presence and surprisingly gentle personality. Before becoming an actor, he worked several jobs and struggled for years before finding success in Hollywood. His breakthrough role came in The Green Mile, where he played John Coffey, a mysterious prisoner with extraordinary abilities. His performance was deeply emotional and earned him an Academy Award nomination. Duncan went on to appear in films such as Armageddon, The Whole Nine Yards, and Daredevil. Although he often played physically powerful characters, people who knew him frequently described him as kind, warm, and generous. In his later years, Duncan faced serious health difficulties. In 2012, he suffered a heart attack that left him critically ill. He remained hospitalized and faced major medical complications during the following weeks. Michael Clarke Duncan died in September 2012 at the age of 54. His death was a major loss for Hollywood and for fans who admired both his performances and his inspiring personal journey. His life story showed that success does not always come quickly. He worked hard for years before becoming a major actor, and once he achieved fame, he created characters that audiences still remember. His final health battle was difficult, but his legacy continues through the emotional power of his performances. 9. James Gandolfini. James Gandolfini became a television legend through his unforgettable performance as Tony Soprano in The Sopranos. His portrayal of a powerful mob boss struggling with family problems, emotional conflict, and personal pressures changed television forever. Gandolfini was praised for bringing emotional depth and vulnerability to a character who could easily have been portrayed as simply violent or intimidating. His performance made Tony Soprano one of the most complex characters in television history. Away from the screen, Gandolfini was known to value his privacy. He had experienced personal challenges and the pressures that came with becoming one of the most recognizable actors on television. The enormous success of The Sopranos brought worldwide fame, but fame also created intense professional demands. In June 2013, Gandolfini died suddenly of a heart attack while visiting Rome, Italy. He was only 51 years old. The news shocked the entertainment world because many fans felt that his career still had so much more to offer. His death brought tributes from actors, filmmakers, and fans around the world. For many people, Gandolfini will always be remembered as Tony Soprano, but his career included far more than one iconic role. His story reminds us that life can change unexpectedly. Behind one of television's most powerful characters was a private man who carried the pressures of fame while trying to maintain a life away from the cameras. Today, his work continues to influence actors and television creators around the world. 10. John Candy. John Candy was one of the most beloved comedy stars of the 1980s and early 1990s. His warm personality and natural sense of humor made him instantly lovable in films such as Planes, Trains and Automobiles, Uncle Buck, Cool Runnings, and Home Alone. Candy had a special ability to make audiences laugh while also making them feel genuine emotion. His characters often appeared funny and larger than life, but they also had vulnerability and heart. Behind his public success, however, Candy faced major pressures related to his demanding career and personal health. He came from a family with a history of heart problems, and his busy lifestyle placed additional strain on him. Despite these challenges, Candy continued working. He was known for his generosity and dedication to entertaining audiences, but the physical demands of his career and health concerns remained serious. In March 1994, John Candy died suddenly from a heart attack at the age of 43 while working on a film in Mexico. His death shocked Hollywood and devastated fans around the world. John Candy's story is especially sad because his public image was filled with laughter. He was the kind of actor who could make a simple expression unforgettable. Yet behind the comedy was a man dealing with the pressures of fame and serious health risks. More than 3 decades later, his films remain beloved. John Candy continues to make new generations laugh, proving that true warmth and humor can survive long after an actor has left the screen. 11. Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was one of the most influential comedians and actors in American entertainment history. His fearless style changed comedy forever. He spoke openly about life, relationships, race, and personal experiences in a way that had rarely been seen before. His career included successful films such as Silver Streak, Stir Crazy, Brewster's Millions, and See No Evil, Hear No Evil. His partnership with Gene Wilder became one of the most popular comedy collaborations in Hollywood. But Pryor's personal life was filled with serious struggles. He dealt with addiction, difficult relationships, and major health problems. He also survived a life-threatening accident in 1980 that caused severe burns and required a long recovery. Later in life, Pryor was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. The disease gradually affected his mobility and physical abilities. For a man whose career had been built around explosive energy and physical performance, this was an especially difficult challenge. Richard Pryor died in December 2005 at the age of 65 after suffering a heart attack. His later years were marked by serious health struggles, but his influence never disappeared. Pryor changed the world of comedy by being fearless and deeply personal. His life contained painful moments and difficult battles, but his artistic legacy remains enormous. Many of today's greatest comedians still describe Richard Pryor as one of their biggest influences. 12. Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve became an international symbol of heroism when he played Superman in the classic film series. With his strong screen presence and sincere performance, Reeve convinced audiences that he truly was the Man of Steel. But in 1995, his real life changed dramatically. Reeve suffered a devastating horse-riding accident that left him paralyzed from the neck down. The actor who had once flown across movie screens now faced a life filled with enormous physical challenges. The years that followed required extraordinary courage. Reeve underwent extensive rehabilitation and faced serious medical complications. But rather than disappearing from public life, he became an advocate for spinal cord injury research and disability rights. His life after the accident inspired millions of people. He demonstrated that courage does not always mean being physically powerful. Sometimes, courage means continuing forward when life changes in ways that seem impossible to overcome. Christopher Reeve died in October 2004 at the age of 52 following complications related to a serious infection. His death was mourned around the world. Although his final years involved significant physical suffering, Reeve transformed his personal tragedy into a mission to help others. His legacy became larger than Superman. He showed the world that real heroism can exist far away from movie screens. 13. Paul Newman. Paul Newman was one of the most admired actors in Hollywood history. With his striking appearance, natural charisma, and remarkable talent, he became a star through films such as Cool Hand Luke, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Sting, and The Color of Money. But Newman was more than a movie star. He was also a director, race car driver, philanthropist, and businessman. Through his charitable work, he helped raise enormous amounts of money for children and important causes. Despite his success, Newman experienced deep personal pain throughout his life. The death of his son, Scott Newman, in 1978 had a lasting effect on him. He also faced the emotional complexities of fame and family life. In his later years, Newman was diagnosed with lung cancer. His health gradually declined, and he spent his final period surrounded by family and close friends. Paul Newman died in September 2008 at the age of 83. His passing marked the end of an extraordinary Hollywood career. His story shows that even a life filled with achievement can contain private sorrow. Newman was admired for his talent, but also for using his fame to help others. His legacy remains one of the most respected in entertainment history, and his final years remind us that behind even the strongest public image can be a deeply human life filled with both joy and pain. 14. Raúl Juliá. Raúl Juliá was a brilliant actor known for his passion, intelligence, and powerful stage presence. He became internationally recognized for his performances in films such as Kiss of the Spider-Woman, The Addams Family, and Street Fighter. As Gomez Addams, Juliá created one of the most beloved versions of the famous character. He brought humor, romance, and energy to the role, making it unforgettable for audiences. During the final period of his life, Juliá faced serious health problems. Even while dealing with illness, he remained committed to his work. His dedication to acting continued despite his declining physical condition. In 1994, Juliá suffered serious medical complications following a stroke. His condition became critical, and Hollywood was shocked by how quickly his health had deteriorated. Raúl Juliá died in October 1994 at the age of 54. His death came far too early and ended a career that many believed still had enormous potential. What makes his story particularly moving is his continued dedication to his craft. He remained focused on his work while dealing with serious health difficulties. Today, his performances continue to entertain audiences, especially his unforgettable portrayal of Gomez Addams. Raúl Juliá's legacy is one of passion and commitment. His life reminds us that behind the energy and confidence seen on screen, an actor may be facing struggles that remain largely invisible to the audience. 15. Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee remains one of the most influential action stars in cinema history. His speed, philosophy, charisma, and revolutionary approach to martial arts transformed him into a global legend. Through films such as The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, The Way of the Dragon, and Enter the Dragon, Lee introduced a new style of action cinema to international audiences. He was not simply an actor. He was also a martial artist, teacher, philosopher, and filmmaker with a powerful vision. Behind his extraordinary success, however, Lee lived an intensely demanding life. His career involved constant training, filmmaking, teaching, and international travel. He pushed himself physically and creatively while working to overcome barriers in an entertainment industry that often offered limited opportunities to Asian actors. In the months before his death, Lee experienced serious health concerns, including an earlier collapse. His sudden death in July 1973, at the age of only 32, shocked the world and immediately became the subject of enormous public attention and speculation. Bruce Lee's life was incredibly short, but his influence became immortal. He achieved in a few years what many performers never achieve in an entire lifetime. His story remains both inspiring and tragic. The man who appeared almost unstoppable on screen was still human, vulnerable to the pressures and physical limits of life. More than half a century later, Bruce Lee continues to influence martial artists, actors, filmmakers, and millions of fans around the world. These 15 actors gave the world unforgettable movies, legendary characters, laughter, inspiration, and powerful performances. But behind the fame, awards, cameras, and red carpets, many of them faced struggles that were rarely visible to the public. Their stories remind us that celebrities are human beings. Success does not remove pain. Fame does not guarantee happiness. And sometimes the biggest battles are the ones fought silently. Which actor's story touched you the most? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more fascinating stories from Hollywood's past and present. Thanks for watching Hollywood Secrets Information. See you in the next video.